Hey everyone, this is Amanda Archibald, and I'm with finally Chef Jeremy Abbey. Say hi, Jeremy.
Hello, everyone, and hello, Amanda. It's great to be here today, and looking forward to introducing the course.
That's great. So, how did Jeremy and I know each other? Well, it turns out that we are now actually in neighboring states. So, I'm on the west coast of Wisconsin, so halfway between Minneapolis and Madison, but on the Mississippi, and you were across the big old lake and south, right, in
Yep,
Detroit.
yep, yep.
Right.
Located in Detroit, the up and coming food city of the U.S. So excited to be here, and yeah.
I mean, I have to say, like, Detroit has, thankfully, it's revitalizing, and it is such a seat of innovation for culinary innovation, technical innovation. I can't wait to get there, but we're not here to talk about
Yeah,
Detroit. Go ahead.
yeah, it's interesting just to kind of touch on Detroit real quick. It's had this since about the 1980s. It's had this really underscore of amazing culinary talent, great
Totally.
medical institutions, great hospitals, and very cutting edge in the realm of culinary wellness and food. So it's
Very
a
true. Very
natural fit for us to be together. So,
Yay, I know. I can't wait to get to Detroit because, and also an amazing music city. Probably
oh,
like New Orleans, probably one of the best, but don't tell anyone else that, right? But
we are
anyway, so
Motown. So,
so
yeah.
we're beyond Detroit and Wisconsin. We just wanted to introduce ourselves and let you see the faces and hear a little bit of us behind the scenes of the course. So, Jeremy and I met, if you will, probably over 3 years ago, where he said, "Hey, I like what you're doing. I'd like to work with you." And I kept saying to him, "Hold on, Jeremy, I've got a course coming. I want to create the Genomic Kitchen for chefs." But it took me about 2.5 years to be able to finally turn around and say, "I'm ready, Jeremy. I'm really ready." And what I was doing in the 2.5 years is standing up the Genomic Kitchen, doing some very innovative work with a culinary team in Southern California to look at the concepts of nutrigenomics, which we'll be talking about in the course, in the live hospital setting. And that project really has fast forwarded to be able to put nutrigenomics on the menu. We're about to go from pilot to actual. So we wanted to have all those pieces in place. It took some time. Finally, I turned around to Jeremy and said, "We're ready." So Jeremy, you have worked through this course with me. I teach the science and some perspectives, but then I bring you in as a chef and you overlay or you interpret what I'm saying. What are your, having worked deeply in the course, as a chef, what
Yeah.
would you say to chefs?
So just through this, I don't, you're coming to this course hopefully with a good foundation of culinary techniques. So this is not a basic how to saute, how to braise, how to cut. We really hoping to open and spark creativity through the use of this platform and really launch into this new concept and new approach and new way of looking at food and some innovative combinations and innovative ingredients to really just launch your creativity. And I'm not, it's laying a foundation. There's no right or wrong. There's preferred, and then there's recommended. So it's really, you can't go wrong. And this is really just a baseline to launch your creativity in combining some of these concepts and techniques and ingredients for the better health through nutrigenomics.
Exactly. So you've heard us mention the idea of nutrigenomics, which may be like this wacky, wacky world out there. But what we're actually doing in this course is teaching you the principles of culinary genomics. So obviously we're going to define that in the course, but culinary genomics, I like to call it cooking the language and flavor of your DNA. So as chefs, you need to know, well, okay, if I'm going to do that, what is it based on? And it's based on this science of nutrigenomics, which looks at how the food we eat interacts with our genes. So genomics is the study of genes. Nutrition is the study of nutrition. We put them together. We have the new field of nutrigenomics. And when we translate nutrigenomics to the plate, there are some culinary principles. There's a lot of culinary principles that we bear in mind for, as chefs, or you as chefs, that we want to teach you about. So I think that's what's such an eye-opener for chefs, is like we've learned healthy cooking, right? And if you're in an institutional setting, you can talk about that ad nauseum, right, Jeremy?
Oh,
But this is not about healthy cooking. It's way beyond that. So what's your sort of insights from
it
that perspective, Jeremy?
it really is through I've been in the deep into the culinary education for about 10 years now, and I've always been frustrated through traditional methods of teaching students and teaching ourselves culinary nutrition, because there's only so much, like, I don't care how many calories are in a gram of protein, that doesn't help a chef. And it's so scientific and so deep into, I don't want to say old school thinking, because it is fundamental that we understand how food interacts and powers our body and our cell structures and all that good stuff that we probably are pretty aware of. The wonderful thing about culinary genomics is this really gets me fired up, because it is the next level of not only culinary nutrition, but you hear that buzzword a lot in the markets right now of wellness. And what is wellness? And that mind, body, spirit, soul, those kind of things. And this really is taking a look at how the food that we eat can really, really integrate and influence our body's reactions to different chemicals and everything else inside. That's all the sciencey stuff that, I'll be honest with you, I don't completely understand it, but that's why Amanda's here. And that's why, it's a
Thanks,
great
Jeremy.
team.
You need to take the course.
The more I get into it, the more I'm understanding. And, it's here's an early plug. I just got my hands on Amanda's new book, and that's finally on the market. And, just reading through it as a great reminder of how it all connects and gets together. But it really is, it's exciting, and it should launch new conversations in our kitchens and new ingredients and new flavor combinations that this is the next level of culinary nutrition into culinary wellness.
Exactly. And what I felt for a long time, and I've shared with you in the years we've known each other, is that I feel that through this new iteration of the culinary arts, where it meets the cutting edge of medicine, finally chefs have a seat at the healing table. They should be part of a medical team or an extension of the medical team if you're in an institutional setting. And if you're a private chef, maybe working with clients who need help, they're sick or they're well. What we've done with this course is give you a completely new toolbox of ingredients. You'll recognize them all, but we've given you a different lens to understand why they're in there, and more importantly, how to prepare them in the kitchen or work with them using your expertise as a chef to eke out what I call the best return on ingestion, my ROI, right, for these ingredients. And the home cook can do this, but a chef, your creativity is and your expertise in the field is what sets you apart in the next food conversation. So I feel this is your time and this is your stage, which is why I really wanted to do the course. And thankfully you were there, Jeremy, just taking the ingredients, say, come on, chefs, think about this. So like you said, we're not teaching sauteing, we're teaching you how to think from a new perspective. Jump in, Jeremy.
One of the coolest things that just putting this whole course together that I hope you get out of it as well is sometimes we forget about these ingredients. We forget about some of these bizarre, kind of not really on the everyday menu, where they're super available, they're super fresh, they're great flavor enhancers. And sometimes we forget about turmeric and what a cool dimensional flavor it is, and how creative we can get with it. And so hopefully, one of the best things about this course and building it was a return in a thought process that then begins to form in your brain, where you really will, hopefully it'll improve your cooking as well as your understanding of nutrition and wellness.
Exactly. So I just want to talk really quick about what the course experience is, and then just end once again coming back to a group of chefs I had the opportunity to work with, and their perspective also alongside Jeremy on what this course means, but really what the tools mean in terms of expressing culinary genomics in your recipes and menus. So very briefly, the course is self-paced, it's online. We're getting approved for 8, what do you call them, continuing education hours for chefs, right? But if you don't even need the credits, then it's about 8 hours where we interact between myself talking about the science in very simple and accessible ways. And then Jeremy steps in and says, well, let's work with these ingredients in the kitchen. So we go back and forth. There's lots of handouts. Everything's downloadable. You can't take the video, by the way. But you can watch the video. There's the slides that we present. There's handouts. There's recipe packs. There's different additional tools. And we just built in some additional bonus materials as well. So you can see how we're talking about culinary genomics and nutrigenomics to the public. So you really get that 360. So that's what we packaged together. If you're listening to this before December, wait till December. The course will go live December 2019. Jeremy and I are also going to do a live rendition of the course in May in Detroit at Soil to Service, or through Soil to Service. Jeremy is a fantastic not-for-profit organization. So you can do both. You can do the course and then join us live, where really the focus is on putting the ideas into action, right, Jeremy? It's more a culinary lab for you as chefs to, play around in this space, see innovation in action, but it comes from you. Yeah, so yeah, watch for that too. And finally, I'm just my final words, and I'll pop it back over to you, Jeremy. One of the things that was so fantastically rewarding is working with a pilot project in San Diego with a group of chefs, all of whom, like you, Jeremy, have huge experience. They had all come from fine dining, and they'd stepped into the institution because they didn't want to be on their feet 18 hours anymore with those horrible long hours. As creative as they were, they said enough already. Stepped into, an institutional setting and said, what are we doing here? Because a big hospital kitchen has how many different, like, what do you call those, staging areas, and 20 different renditions of each meal, and just can be very, very chaotic. So we gave them a platform to say, we want to create a completely different menu, and every recipe is built from scratch. And we're going to use the principles of culinary genomics. And it was, as you have already seen, Jeremy, to be able to give trained chefs this full, like, complete blank space, create everything, here's the principles. It was wonderful for them to say, we should be on the Today Show. This is amazing. We finally understand where our skill set is important and why we work in institutional setting, because we're connecting what we're doing in the kitchen to the mouths of people who are here to heal. It was very rewarding. So
it's so awesome. Yeah, it's a great, and that just kind of that blank palette kind of thing. It's always one of those, for me as a professional chef, it's the hardest thing for somebody to say, just, oh, go cook me something.
Yeah.
We usually, as chefs, we like a little bit of direction. We like, here's a list of ingredients. Now go make me something.
That's what we
did.
did.
And this program, really does spell that out, where you can, here's a list of ingredients. Now go create something. Within that realm, it really does allow us to spark creativity based on some of the fundamental comfort ingredients that we all know. We're familiar with, onions, leeks, garlic. Those are familiar ingredients, but how can we really exploit them and bring them to the next level within the confines of culinary wellness and culinary genomics? It's a fascinating concept. It's an incredible course that I like. I don't want to pat ourselves on the back, but I believe that this will launch into just future conversations, more continued, improvements in our healthcare systems and in our United States society all around.
Exactly. Well, everyone, where to know who we are now. So the course, if you go to genomickitchen.com and search under online courses and chef, you will find the course here. And Jeremy, you're also going to put it on your website too, right? They'll be able to jump from Soil to Service to... Yeah,
probably first of the year, we'll probably be able to put a link directly. I mean, we can put a link directly on it. Hosting the course, we're looking at first of the year probably to do some crossover hosting, but we can definitely find it at soiltoservice.org, and looking forward to enjoy the course.
Okay, thanks everyone.